commentary on the Gospel of Thomas from an Epicurean perspective. The Gospel of Thomas, a collection of 114 sayings attributed to Jesus, preserved in Coptic with earlier Greek fragments, is a text that places the emphasis not on narrative, but on wisdom. Its voice is terse, aphoristic, and often enigmatic. For those shaped by Epicurean philosophy, which seeks to free humanity from unnecessary fear and lead it toward tranquility, ataraxia, Thomas's sayings can be read as a parallel guide to peace. Epicurus taught that the universe is atoms and void, governed by natural law, with no interference from divine beings. The gods exist in blessed tranquility, untouched by human concerns. Death is nothing, pleasure is the highest good, and the greatest life is one lived simply, with friendship, reflection, and gratitude. When Thomas is read with these principles in mind, many of its logia become strikingly compatible with Epicurean thought. What follows is a commentary that brings together the heart of Thomas with the heart of Epicurus, exploring how the sayings can be understood as invitations to fearless living. 1. The kingdom within, rejecting external superstitions. Logion 3 says, "If those who lead you say to you, 'See, the kingdom is in the sky,' then the birds of the sky will precede you. If they say to you, 'It is in the sea,' then the fish will precede you. Rather, the kingdom is within you and it is outside you." Epicurus warned against the fear of the gods and the delusion that human salvation lies in some distant heaven. The kingdom is not in the sky or the sea, but in understanding reality as it is. When Thomas's Jesus says the kingdom is within you and outside you, we can hear an Epicurean echo. Nature is present both inside us, in the atomic composition of body and mind, and outside us, in the cosmos itself. This inward-outward kingdom is not supernatural, but natural. The wise do not seek salvation in cosmic geography, but find tranquility by aligning their perception with nature's truth. 2. Knowledge as liberation from fear. Logion 70 states, "If you bring forth what is within you, what you have will save you. If you do not have that within you, what you do not have within you will kill you." For Epicurus, what saves is knowledge. To know that the soul is atomic and mortal, that gods are tranquil and not to be feared, that death is nothing, is to be free. If one fails to cultivate this knowledge, one remains enslaved to fears and desires that destroy peace of mind. The sayings of Thomas, like the doctrines of Epicurus, act as a pharmacon, a medicine for the soul. They do not bestow immortality, but dissolve illusions. 3. Spirit and body. Wealth in fragility. Logion 29 reads, "If the flesh came into being because of spirit, it is a wonder. But if spirit came into being because of the body, it is a wonder of wonders. Yet I marvel at how this great wealth has taken up residence in this poverty." Epicurus held that the psyche, what Thomas calls spirit, is material, composed of fine atoms that arise with the body and perish with it. The marvel is that consciousness, the richest capacity, exists in a fragile mortal frame. This recognition points to the Epicurean lesson that wealth is not in possessions or endless desire, but in the simple fact of being alive, capable of sensation and reflection. The poverty of the body, destined to die, is still the dwelling of great wealth, the ability to experience pleasure and to cultivate tranquility. 4. Death as nothing. Not tasting death. Thomas opens with a saying on death. Logion 1, "Whoever discovers the interpretation of these sayings will not taste death." Epicurus declared, "Death is nothing to us, for when we are, death is not present. And when death is present, we are not." To not taste death does not mean escaping biological dissolution, but being liberated from its fear. The interpreter of these sayings is one who understands life rightly. Death cannot harm us, because it is simply the absence of sensation. Thus, the one who interprets truly lives free of death's sting, already immortal in the sense that their tranquility cannot be destroyed. 5. Blessed before birth. Knowledge before mortality. Logion 18 says, "Blessed is the one who came into being before he came into being. For there are 5 trees for you in paradise, which remain for summer and winter, and their leaves do not fall. Whoever knows them will not taste death." To be blessed before coming into being may mean to live with foresight, to cultivate knowledge before death overtakes us. The trees can be interpreted as the stable truths of nature, the atomic structure of reality, the mortality of body and soul, the indifference of the gods, the finitude of pain, and the goodness of pleasure. Whoever knows these will not taste death, that is, will not be enslaved by its fear. Epicurus called these core teachings the tetrapharmakos, the fourfold cure. Thomas's trees serve a similar symbolic role, enduring principles that free the mind. Number 6, Philosophy for the Living Logian 59 reads, "Look at the living one as long as you live, lest you die and seek to see him, and you will be unable to see." For the Epicurean, philosophy is for the living, not the dead. When sensation ceases, so does seeking. The living one can be read as truth itself, the recognition of reality, nature as it is. While alive, we can grasp it and live wisely. After death, there is nothing. Thus, the saying exhorts us to cultivate wisdom now, not delay in hope of an afterlife. Epicurus would agree, it is foolish to postpone the joy of life for a time when life will no longer exist. Number 7, Adam and the Fear of Death, Logian 85. Adam came from great power and great wealth, but he was not worthy of you. For had he been worthy, he would not have tasted death. Adam represents ignorance, one who lives under death's shadow. His tasting death is not his physical end, which comes to all, but his subjection to fear and illusion. The worthy are those who live with wisdom, knowing that death is nothing. Epicurus too contrasted the wise with the foolish. The latter tremble at divine punishments and eternal annihilation, while the former live serenely, untroubled by the inevitable dissolution of atoms. Number 8, The heavens will dissolve. Logian 111 says, "The heavens and the earth will be rolled up in your presence, and the living one, from the living one, will not see death." Epicurean cosmology teaches that worlds arise and pass away, that the heavens themselves are not eternal in form. Their dissolution is not to be feared but understood as natural. To know this is to be liberated. The living one does not see death because death is never an experience of the living. In this way, Thomas's vision aligns precisely with Epicurean teaching. Death cannot be seen, felt, or tasted by the one who lives. Number 9, Life in the Midst of Death. Logian 112 says, "Woe to the flesh that depends on the soul. Woe to the soul that depends on the flesh. Woe to you when you die if you do not find life in the midst of death." In Epicurean terms, both flesh and soul are atomic, interdependent, and mortal. Woe to those who confuse this by imagining an immortal soul trapped in a perishable body, or a body waiting for eternal animation. Both perish together. Yet the wise can find life in the midst of death, by recognizing that while alive, one may live without fear. Death brings no suffering, so to live rightly is to live as though death has already lost its terror. This is the Epicurean victory over mortality. Number 10, Simplicity and Contentment. Logian 14 warns against ascetic ritual. If you fast, you will bring sin upon yourselves. When you go into any land and walk about in the countryside, if people welcome you, eat what they set before you. For what goes into your mouth will not defile you, but what comes out of your mouth, that is what will defile you. This resonates with Epicurus's embrace of simple pleasures. Ritual austerities and superstitious restrictions do not bring peace. They bring anxiety. To eat simply, with gratitude, is enough. Defilement lies not in food, but in the disturbance we create with false beliefs and harmful speech. 11, Childlike simplicity and balance. Logian 22 speaks of making opposites into one. When you make the two into one, and when you make the male and female one and the same, then you will enter the kingdom. Epicurus sought harmony of desires, balance between natural needs and rational judgment. The child in the saying symbolizes freedom from social anxieties, the state of simplicity in which one enjoys natural pleasures without turmoil. In Epicurean terms, this is ataraxia, undivided peace of mind. Number 12, Renouncing worldly gain. Logian 110 says, "Whoever has found the world and become rich has renounced the world." Epicurus distinguished between natural and vain desires. Wealth, power, and endless possessions enslave the soul. But one who finds the world through knowledge of nature renounces its vain pursuits. To know the world is to see that riches lie not in gold, but in the sufficiency of little. The Epicurean sage, like Thomas's disciple, becomes rich precisely by desiring little. Conclusion: the Epicurean Jesus of Thomas. The Gospel of Thomas, when read through an Epicurean perspective, is not a promise of supernatural immortality, but a guide to natural liberation. Again and again, it returns to the theme of death. Not tasting death is the repeated refrain. This does not mean escaping mortality, but dissolving its fear. Epicurus's cure for humanity's greatest anxiety, death, is echoed in Thomas. The wise, whether in the Garden of Athens or in the sayings of Jesus, learn to live without dread, finding joy in simplicity, in friendship, in the recognition that the gods are tranquil and death is nothing. Thus, Thomas and Epicurus together call us to the same path, to live now with gratitude, to free ourselves from vain desires and superstitions, and to embrace life as atoms dancing in the void, sufficient in their fleeting beauty. To discover this is to not taste death, but to savor life with fearless delight.